Brilliance Audio presents The Shattered Portrait by Alice Quinn, translated by Alexandra Maldwin Davies, performed by Elizabeth Nolden. Cannes, France, January 1888. The city of Cannes sparkled, hosting an endless array of parties, galas and concerts for the crowned heads of Europe, who arrived in troves for the mild Mediterranean winters. A newcomer could never have guessed the tragedies being played out behind closed doors, tragedies caused by the recent real estate crisis that had ripped through the town and its storied fortunes. The press sometimes reported on it, but with rather couched words. As for us, at the Villa Les Pavots, our vibrant and busy lifestyle was mostly sheltered from the shipwreck, for this economic downturn affected those who had tried to speculate, which was not the case for us. My mistress, Lola, who had just entered her 25th year, often worried, however, saying that if all her paying visitors were to go bankrupt, we might certainly feel the effects. But all she was really concerned about was her dear Maupassant. When would he come to Cannes? When would she see him again? Since first meeting the famous writer Guy de Maupassant nearly 4 years ago, Lola had read everything she could find by the man: his chronicles, his poetry, his novellas, and every single extract of his writing that had been serialized in the newspapers. I was a little jealous of the passion she held for his work. I would have been thrilled had she noticed that I, the Honourable Miss Gabriella Fletcher, just like the great Maupassant, wrote too. Indeed, my first novel, The Crumpled Letter, had been published, but that would have served little to no purpose. Literature had nothing to do with Lola's keen interest in Maupassant's writing. I was convinced she had deep feelings for him, though she would never have admitted to them. And I myself felt a definite attraction toward Lola, yet these emotions were equally concealed. Although I was now approaching my 40th birthday, I withheld my feelings as an adolescent would. One morning, in front of the tall windows leading out onto the balcony, Rosalie had laid out a bread basket with butter and jam alongside a large coffee pot and a jug of fresh milk. The whole house shook, for a great deal of improvements to the building were underway, and the noise made in the mornings, including deafening hammer blows and loud singing from our Italian masons, filled the entire villa, often greatly disturbing our sleep. Anna, the young orphan whom Lola had taken under her wing 4 years earlier, was already sitting at the breakfast table, eating alone. She was dressed simply but elegantly in a pale robe with a light pink shawl. Now 15 and entering womanhood, she had become somewhat churlish and refused to wear anything but pink. Of course, it didn't help matters that our dear friend Paul-Antoine Ninard de la Motte had decreed that this hue was Anna's colour. Being rather effeminate in nature, he liked to be known as the authority on Parisian fashions. He was even on familiar terms with the king of pastel-tinted muslins himself, Jacques Doucet. As he watched me approach, Sherry, our beloved cat, jumped down from Anna's knees to come and greet me, rubbing against my ankles. I stepped over the ever-increasing pile of papers and books that were yet to find a home on our shelves and joined Anna. Lola stepped out of her bedchamber, which adjoined the living room. She, too, was dressed and ready to take on the day. She was wearing one of her favourite professional outfits, a magnificent blood-red dress of high-quality silk, embroidered with purple flowers that skimmed her thighs, complete with a massive orange bow resting on her shoulder like a monstrous butterfly. Although the décolletage didn't plunge as much as those on some of her other pieces, she still looked to be dressed for an evening out, rather than preparing to start her daily routine.